The opening months of 2025 saw a dramatic escalation in the US-China trade war. President Trump, true to his word, imposed a series of escalating tariffs on Chinese goods. These tariffs, starting at 10% and eventually reaching as high as 145%, targeted a vast array of products. The stated goal? To force China into a fair deal that addressed long-standing US grievances on trade practices. However, in a surprise move on April 11th, the Trump administration announced exemptions for certain consumer electronics. Smartphones, laptops, and computer parts were spared from the steepest tariffs. This decision came as a relief to many American tech giants, including Apple and Dell, who rely heavily on Chinese manufacturing. These exemptions highlight the complex realities of a globalized economy. While aiming for leverage, the administration also acknowledged the potential harm these tariffs could inflict on American businesses and consumers. The exclusion of key consumer electronics underscores this delicate balancing act. Despite the recent exemptions, significant tensions remain in the US-China trade relationship. A hefty 20% tariff, imposed in response to the ongoing fentanyl crisis, remains in place on a range of Chinese imports. Furthermore, both countries continue to levy reciprocal tariffs on each other's goods, reaching up to 125% in some cases. Adding to the uncertainty, President Trump has signaled his intent to launch a national security investigation into the semiconductor industry. This move, echoing previous actions against steel and aluminum imports, could pave the way for yet another round of tariffs, this time targeting a sector crucial to both economies and the global tech industry. The persistence of these trade barriers reflects the deep-seated disagreements between the two economic giants. Issues such as intellectual property rights, forced technology transfers, and China's state-subsidized industries continue to fuel tensions. The path ahead remains fraught with challenges, and the specter of further escalation looms large. The reverberations of this trade war are being felt far beyond the borders of the US and China. Global markets have reacted with trepidation, with stock markets experiencing significant volatility in response to tariff announcements. The International Monetary Fund has warned of the negative impact on global economic growth, lowering its projections for 2025. Within the tech industry, however, the tariff exemptions for electronics were met with a collective sigh of relief. Analysts had predicted significant price increases for popular consumer goods like iPhones and laptops had the tariffs remained in place. The exemptions, therefore, represent a win for both tech companies and consumers. The tech sector's positive response underscores its reliance on global supply chains and the potential disruption these tariffs could have caused. While the exemptions offer some breathing room, the uncertainty surrounding future trade relations continues to cast a shadow over the industry's long-term planning and investment decisions. At the heart of this trade war lies the significant trade deficit between the US and China. In 2024 alone, this deficit reached a staggering $295 billion, with the US importing far more from China than it exports. Key imports include electrical machinery, plastics, and furniture, while the US primarily exports mineral fuels, oilseeds, and aircraft. Despite the ongoing tensions, President Trump maintains an optimistic outlook. He frequently touts his strong relationship with Chinese President Xi Jinping and expresses confidence in achieving a fair deal that addresses US concerns. This optimism, however, is tempered by the International Monetary Fund's warnings of escalating trade tensions and their potential to derail global economic growth. The path forward remains uncertain. Will the recent tariff exemptions pave the way for a broader agreement, or will they simply serve as a temporary truce in a protracted trade war? The answers to these questions hold significant implications, not just for the US and China, but for the entire global economy.